Welcome in, guys. This is Ray. This is the Know Nothings podcast.
And I'm Mike. How you doing?
And we're back after a little week hiatus, 2-week hiatus from the podcast. I've been a busy beaver, man.
You have.
So
how's everything going over there?
It's a lot, man. It's a lot going on trying to open a business. But we're good. We're getting moving, and probably a month of not consistent podcast, and then hopefully life gets kind of normalized and things get regulated.
Yeah, I got everything moved around in here. I like it, but I've got some drums set up over there, an amp over here. I've got us all squeezed in.
Man, it looks really good. We'll see what it looks like on TikTok and YouTube. But
yeah, I'm sweating. We got so many lights on us.
What's going on with the sweat? What's happening there?
This is too many lights.
Just too much.
That's too many lights. I've got lights here, there, up there.
Can't handle all the fame, Mike.
It's too much. Too many lights.
It's a lot of pressure.
How do they do it in a setting of I'll show you here. Boom. There we go. There's the whole. How do they do it in a setting where like newscasters and stuff? Because they wear my glasses are fogging up and everything. I'm
not having any.
There's cans everywhere. Is it not cool?
I'm not feeling any heat or anything.
Really?
I feel like just normal and wonderful.
Such a fat boy.
It feels like 72 degrees in this house. The lights aren't bothering me. There's no sweat.
It's actually 68. I keep it on 68 here.
Really? Yeah. It feels tremendous.
I can't sleep at night unless it's freezing.
My wife's like that and drives me crazy. I'm like a 75 guy.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I can't get any sleep above 70. None.
I mean, I want it to be like borderline warm, but I'll call it comfortable, like the temperature I like to exist in all day. That's where I like to sleep. My wife wants it freaking 26 degrees.
75 is not comfortably warm. That is crazy.
75 is, yeah.
72 is what, like 72 degrees in your head all the time is perfect.
Yeah, and 75 is real close to 70.
75 is like you're about to go to the beach, and it's the morning time.
We live in Louisiana. We're used to like 102 and 97. And I mean, I know when I walk out on an August day out of my truck and if I walk around the yard for 15 minutes to grab something and I walk in the house, it feels wonderful at 70. But my wife says the same thing you say. She comes in at 75 and acts like she's dying.
Oh, it's awful. But here's the funny thing. Like,
she's going through menopause. You going through menopause?
Yeah, maybe. I'm pausing. The other thing is you see these kids during the summertime and it's 98 degrees out and they're wearing hoodies. That's so weird.
That phenomenon has just freaks. Every middle school boy wears shorts and a hoodie.
Right.
Regardless of the weather.
Yeah.
July, they're wearing a hoodie.
Wearing a hoodie.
What is the deal? Is that because they have little baby arms and they're like?
I don't think it's that. I think they just like their hoodies. Here in Louisiana, you don't get to wear a hood like a normal person would wear a hoodie for a month here.
Yeah, that's about it.
It's about it. But so you can stretch it out a little bit, I guess. These kids, they just want their hoodies.
They stretch it out all year. There's a lot of weird things going on. Yeah, kids have some weird fad stuff that you ever notice all the kids that age too. They all wear neon socks and they all wear this.
There's a thing now though with your sock game.
Yeah.
You got to have a strong sock game.
Yeah, you do.
So it means you got to have socks. So I know a guy that had socks made with his face on them as cartoon characters.
Yeah, I've seen some people do that. It's a bit much. I'm just not paying $22 for customized socks. Maybe I'm just old. I'm probably just old.
It's not when you get it's old, but it's you have better things to spend money on. And as you get older, you just kind of weed away all the dumb shit.
Yeah.
So you're I'd really like to pay my motorcycle insurance this month, so I'm not going to buy 3 sets of $22 a piece socks with my
customized
face.
Socks with my face on it.
Yeah, or a saying I like.
Although
I am wearing T-shirts are a different story.
I even at 45 years old, pushing 46, I still like novelty tees. They're still funny too.
I love novelty tees.
They're still funny.
All I wear.
They're still funny to me.
They're still great.
Shirts that are funny and cool. I always want to comment on them when people have them. I like to wear them. I still love band shirts. I still love shirts that say stuff on them like I drink and I know things. It's funny. It's funny.
Drink and I know things. With the sweat. Look at the sweat. Oh, speaking of sweating, I'm gonna be trippied up all over the place on these cameras because I got them backwards, but I'm used to doing them.
Oh yeah. Could cause some havoc.
I got my mountain bike and I put it together, and I I learned everything there is to learn about. But I already said this, but I learned everything there is to do about like making the brakes right and making the everything right, and it runs like a top.
I know everything there is to know about the mountain bike business.
That's right. Yeah. But so like I figured out how to get anywhere in town on this mountain bike in less than 15 minutes. I can get anywhere.
Really?
There is a cut through back here behind my house that goes to that railroad track they pulled up that they've made like a big long like mountain biking and walking and running track that goes right through town.
Yeah.
And it stops at the interstate. You go under the interstate, and then they're like having that thing. But if you stay on that, you can get all the way down to California 10 minutes. Easy.
Really?
Yeah. And then if you make a left out of it before you hit the interstate, there's a little spot where you can go up and you can end up in Graham Shopping Center in like 10 minutes.
That's pretty cool. So you've just been riding all over exploring?
Just riding all over, yeah. Figuring out how to ride all over with it. I like... First time I got mud on the tires, so like I had to leave it outside until I can clean the mud off.
Yeah.
Because I usually bring them inside.
Went off-roading?
My bikes, yeah. So like, well, some of that's a little bit of a mud trench.
How are the trails around here? Are they good or?
They're all right. There's just that one I know. It's just like this crisscross that I do that I can get
You ever ride in
anywhere.
Lincoln Parish Park?
Not yet, because you have to get a helmet, and as most people are aware, I am against helmets. I don't like them. I never wore one as a kid. I've stayed on a bike my entire life. I've fallen off a bike and a motorcycle actually, and never wore a helmet. I don't like them, and they make you wear a helmet if you go.
What about when you ride your motorcycle? You still don't. You have to.
Well, I wear a fake helmet when I ride my motorcycle. One that's real tight to my head.
Yeah.
It's a non-DOT. You don't get messed with, because I can't stand wearing some big dumb helmet unless I'm on my like on my sport bike, and then I wear a full face helmet. Yeah. But on a bike, I'm not wearing a helmet on a bike.
On a bicycle?
Bicycle?
No, I'm not with that either. I'm not with that.
I'm not doing that. And I'll eventually have to.
But if you get hit by a car or something, you sure would wish you had it, right?
Get hit by a car doesn't matter.
Probably.
I just don't think it matters. Same thing like on a motorcycle. If you're not because when I go to Florida,
if you're doing 115 and skid off the road, you're probably.
I don't wear a helmet on my motorcycle in Florida because if you're going over 45 mile an hour and you get hit by a car, you slam into something, you're probably gonna die
or close to it. Yeah,
close to it. The helmet really doesn't matter. This is bad. They'll probably kick us off of YouTube for me talking about helmets like this. But
well, I mean, you have the right to have an opinion about helmets. If
not
you want
anymore.
To.
There's no more opinions.
No more bits.
Unless Elon also buys YouTube.
And I guess it's a done deal, right? With Twitter,
it's a done deal.
He took over this week.
He did because I heard that he fired a bunch of people. He fired people. See, it is hot in here. My camera just said it's hot.
Who did he fire? Is he trimming the fat from the company, probably?
Yeah, he fired everyone's like, I didn't know he was going to fire everybody, and it's like, yes, of course he was. Didn't you understand that he was going to do that?
Well, that's what takeovers are.
Yeah, I mean, he comes in and he cleans house and he puts people in place that you would want in place.
Yeah,
we're just gonna have to roll without my camera. It says it's too hot.
Oh, just do the.
I'm gonna buy another camera.
We'll just do the wide view.
We'll do some wide view and do you. When I talk, I'll hit the
wide view.
Be like, what's up? And then when it's you,
I like the wide view with both of us in there anyway.
The wide view's cool.
You can do a little banter back and forth. So he's officially taken over as CEO?
I believe so, because he said he fired a bunch of people. And I read this thing where everybody was all butthurt that they got fired.
Did they tweet it?
Didn't you all realize?
Did they tweet it out?
I don't know. I don't go on Twitter a whole lot.
It's my least used social media platform.
Me too. But I just this is the funny thing. After it said he bought it, I went in and I purged everything I follow politically on it.
Yeah.
So I could just enjoy it. Then I just started looking up bans and stuff on it to get so I just make the Twitter the ban.
That's what you got to do that's what I do with all social media is I scrub it. I make the algorithm be customizable to me. I don't want every other tweet to be about politics. That is terrible.
It's so depressing.
Politics is the worst.
It's the worst.
The more I hear things or whatever, or people want opinions on stuff, the more I realize just how much I hate politics. I just hate it. Politics is the dumbest shit in the world to me.
I just think that people, like we said before, you're like, I'm going to help people, and then you get into it and you actually win, and then there's just roadblocks.
Yeah,
from there on out.
then you just, I think at some point, then you just realize, like, I have to be like these idiots who I said, I have to be crooked, or it just becomes too easy to be crooked.
I don't know if they would call it crooked. I think they would call it compromising.
Well, I would find a way to justify it too, because I mean, look, I'd be like, hey, I'm not crooked. I took $2 million from this drug company, but I was going to vote this way anyway. This was for my campaign or whatever it's for. But they sure do end up awful rich.
They do. They end up, somehow they just end up being really good at the stock market too.
Really good at the stock market.
Yeah.
But really good at it. Even you take the stock market out of it, how are they amassing $10-12 million a year in profits or extra money on $175,000?
All I'm saying is we talked about it before, but I have a app that tells me what all they're buying and stuff.
Yeah.
And it shows their return, and it's always in the plus.
Oh, it's always the plus, like 11, 12, 16%.
Yeah, they're always 16% more. More. It's crazy. That's crazy. Because if you're not plugged in, you're negative. They're totally plugged in.
Well, they outperform all hedge funds. U.S. politicians outperform all the hedge funds, all the best hedge funds. That's all they do is crunch numbers, try to make money, and are good at it. And the politicians are somehow better at their game than they are.
Right.
It's odd, right? It's almost like...
Smells fishy to me.
It's almost like a women's softball team beating the New York Giants at football. Like,
right.
It just makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense in any kind of real universe. But that's what happens.
Yeah. Well, they know what's going to happen. They know what the trends are.
See, Jerry Lee Lewis died.
Yeah, I saw that.
The last man standing. He was the last one from that
piano rockin' era.
Well, from the 50s, Little Richard, Elvis, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, Jerry Lee Lewis. I mean, most of them been gone for a long time. I think Little Richard just a few years ago, but Jerry Lee was hanging on, but he finally went on home. So,
well, I'm
a Jerry Lee fan. I know he did some questionable things throughout his life.
But who hasn't? But I don't know. I've never done those questionable things.
But when we talk about, you talk about like the child stuff. So, it's hard. It's really hard. And I'll just say this in general about everything. Now, and he did marry the 13-year-old cousin, right? But it's really hard to judge people from 1955 on 2022 standards because it's the world's different. Like it was weird for a 13-year-old to be married to a 22-year-old. In 1955, 57.
That's weird.
But it wasn't like that weird, right? It was just
weird isn't the word.
Well, but yeah, no, weird's the word. But I think people then were like, "Oh man,
monstrous."
I think then people were like, "Oh man, I can't believe he didn't wait till she was 14. That's crazy." That's like
oh my gosh, I can't believe he didn't wait till she was 15 years old.
Well, yeah, because by 17, you're an old maid, right? Like you had to be.
Are you an old maid?
In 1950s.
Isn't it funny when you watch old movies that you look at like these old 50s movies and the way their hair's done and their makeup and what they're wearing? They may be 22 years old and they look like a grandma.
Well, I've talked about that before. Like when you look at old photos, they look old, man.
Yeah, but look,
that? I've heard kids talk about that from our era, though. These like on TikTok, people put up these nostalgic videos and be like high school 1992, and it'll be like a VHS tape of someone from 1992 of like walking around a high school, like talking to people, like, "Hey, Mike, what's up?" It was so weird to watch our generation back then on a camera because now we're used to a camera.
Yeah.
People are used to interacting like that. So if somebody busts in with a camera, like, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" Be like, "Nothing. What are you doing?" And it's just like, but back then, you don't realize you watch those old tapes.
Everybody's like, "Blah!"
They freak out. They'd be like, "Blah!" A camera. Yeah, okay. They just freak out. But what's funny is the young people comment. They're like, "Oh my God!" They're like, "Why does everybody in high school look 36 in 1992?"
Oh my gosh!
So they think the same thing about us.
They do.
They're like, all these people look they look the age they are now in high school. All of them. What's going on?
That's really weird.
And I'm watching it going, "Oh yeah, that looks like high school 1992," because it does. It always.
Well, like you see, like Humphrey Bogart or whoever, and he's got the mustache going on, and it's like, "Hello, I'm 21," and it's like that dude's 50.
Well, back then, like people in their 20s were wearing like suits to work.
Oh yeah.
So you're like full suited up, briefcase, like at 22 for your $3.20 an hour job, but they were like dressed in $500. In general, though, if you look in the 50s, 60s and 60s, 40s, 50s, men really dress like way more dignified than we do now, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just saying the other day, I was watching an older movie, and people were, the way they were talking and stuff, and I was like, nobody has scruples anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody really, everybody just talks to everybody like everybody's shit.
Yeah,
it's like, what's up, fam? Yeah. What's going on, dog?
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's not how you would address people years ago. You'd be like, hello, sir. How are you today?
Yeah, when you're like,
and now it's just like, people don't even talk to you hardly.
If you can get, if people, people under 35 just struggle with interaction anyway because it weirds them out.
I did an experiment and waved at every single person I saw on the road yesterday.
How many did you get back?
None. Like, I waved at people that I saw walking down the road.
Like, stuck your hand out the window?
No, like they would make eye contact, and I would wave, like a big wave, driving. I did this on purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm driving, and I'm going over, and I'm going to pick up my son, take him to work. People walking down the road. There's somebody walking down the road. They make eye contact with me, and I wave and smile, and they just go like this. That happened. Okay, it wasn't a lot of people. It was 4 people. I went and picked them up in the morning. People were walking because it's college. Yeah. College town. People are walking all over the place. And then when I took him home, people were walking. 4 people, no waves. The other thing is when I'm on the bike trail, though, I went up and down the bike trail and made it like a 5-mile thing, which isn't that big in biking, but whatever.
Yeah.
Look at me. I can't do over 10 yet.
Yeah.
So, like, people on the bike trail, you're coming up to them 100% hellos. I said, and I would make, when we make eye contact and I'm on the bike, I go, how you doing? And they go, oh, how you doing? And 100% on the bike trail. So
yeah, because you've put them on the spot. They're right there.
I forced them. I forced them.
They got to talk now. You got to talk.
There was one person that didn't. It was a girl, and she was just like in her headphones and like walking like this down the trail, like, don't nobody rape me, please. Nobody rape me, please. You know what I mean? It's like I'm wearing a bright viz yellow shirt.
I thought you were going to say a vest.
No,
like
not a vest.
Like a safety vest.
I'm wearing a bright viz yellow long sleeve shirt, and my bike has these flashing lights on it so people don't hit me. It's not exactly a rape vehicle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She probably had her earbuds in and just couldn't.
She did, but she was definitely working real hard not to look.
Yeah,
which I get. I would hate to be a woman and walking on a trail somewhere, and it's in the, like, it's cut through in like some wooded areas. Yeah, women just kind of like, I feel bad for women because like most men are just kind of like the male gaze.
Oh, the male,
the male gaze.
Yeah,
like and I've never really been
a gazer.
Yeah, like
me neither.
If you wear sunglasses though at the beach.
Well,
you can get away with it a little bit.
I'm not a gazer. It's kind of weird to me, and I wouldn't want to make someone feel weird or awkward, and I don't want to feel weird and awkward. And like I've seen people before, so I've never really understood the whole like gazing and gawking.
The gawking thing doesn't. I don't care about that. It's always been a loser that's gawking.
Yeah,
and we talk.
We've talked. Yeah, a lot about. It's the same thing about commenting about it too much, and too much gives me the ick. Like,
but I understand like how women can be standoffish on a trail. But I'm on a bike and I've got blinking lights and a huge thing. Just say hello to me. Yeah. It's fine.
Just wave.
Just wave. And I'm sure that people nowadays that are younger will be like, I don't have to say hello to you. I don't know you. It's like, man, just be friendly. Why can't anybody be friendly?
They don't know how. I think they've lost the ability to know how.
Nobody has scruples anymore.
Do you think
nobody's been taught to say yes, sir, no, sir, except for like these kids that come over with, the kids that I have that they do. Yeah, they do. They've been taught.
I'll say. My kids are grown now, but most of my I can almost say all of my kids' friends in high school were like very respectful, very good kids. Yes sir, no sir. Easy to interact with, but I don't think on the whole, it's just not my experience that I'm seeing that. I just don't see that people know how to interact with. Just like you're talking about, they can't even wave to you.
Right.
I think it's because everybody feels like somebody's out to do something weird. Like
Yeah,
talking or waving's weird.
I like to be funny and like in the store. I'm like walking in.
Nobody laughs anymore.
Walmart.
They don't
Nobody
laugh.
laughs. Nobody. Everybody thinks that you're not joking. They think you're serious. But I did do like this couple had like 2 things of like beers. Each of them had like 2 here, 2 here. They're like walking through the store, and me and Kylie were walking through the store, and we were like coming up on them, and I saw them. And they were like in their 20s, and I went, hey, I'm going with these guys, and they laughed about that. But like most people don't even acknowledge when you like, hey, I'm going with these guys.
Those are good fun drinkers, so
I'm going with these guys wherever they're going. I'm headed that way because they had all the beer.
But yeah, I notice a lot of that when I talk to like cashiers or bank tellers or whoever, just general people in the general pop. If you say something weird or off color, whatever, or kind of just quirky or funny, they're like, I don't know. So what was the deal you heard about the UFOs?
Oh, speaking of government stuff. No, it's just like more and more people in the government, like fighter pilots and stuff, are coming out and going on shows and talking about UFOs and seeing UFOs. Well they
now
don't call them
released...
UFOs. They call them unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs.
Same thing.
No, it's not.
I know. Well,
the reason why it's not, I figured it out because I was like, they're UFOs, but they're not. Okay, they're calling them UAPs because they don't know what they are. The UFO also carries a lot of baggage.
but it still would be unidentified and it's still flying.
Maybe it's not flying.
Maybe it's not flying.
See, the thing is that also, if it's unidentified aerial phenomena, it means that maybe it could be from another dimension and it's just like popping in and it's not flying. Because a lot of these things just hover perfectly in 100-knot winds.
Yeah.
And they don't move. And there's like zooming around them and looking at them. And this one guy even said he like saw a circle in a box just hovering. Like a clear box with a circle in it or something. That's one of them that they see, and nobody's like losing their shit over it. Nobody cares.
I know nobody
cares.
The government, the Congress was doing hearings on UFOs or UEPs,
UAPs.
Okay,
Unidentified aerial
Congress
phenomena.
was airing hearings on that, and almost no one tuned in, and the news didn't even mention it.
They didn't even talk about it.
I'm like, what the fuck?
What are they setting us up for?
How is that not a big deal? Like, how is that not a big deal? It's kind of like...
It's a huge deal.
Of course, right? But like, so how do they make that like... They don't even make it like...
I think when
it's like
when
a
that was
C-list
going
celebrity
on,
from 30 years ago died. That's what was happening when they were airing live UFO coverage.
right? From a military fighter pilot.
Yeah, it wasn't like, holy shit, guys, stop everything, go to every news, break in with this story. This is huge. It was like, oh yeah, also we got some
shit that we don't understand, and it's out there. It's not bothering us, but it definitely is something we don't know what it is, and it's moving from like 20,000 feet to 500 feet in a second.
But let's talk about
what was going on at the time was the shitting in the bed.
The shitting in the bed at the time. Yeah, the Amber Heard deal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's always something going on that they get in place of the big stories.
What happened to all the UFO guys? Why aren't they flipping out?
They probably are. They're just not getting
any play.
They are freaking out. They're just not getting any play.
Isn't it weird that you can just, with all of this access that we have to the internet and everything, that you can just get shut down if you have something to say? Like, they don't have to show anybody anything. You can put whatever you want. They just make whatever they want to make news.
100%.
Well, I mean, I think I saw a quote that said Napoleon Bonaparte. Not Dynamite, but Napoleon Bonaparte. He said that history is made up. History is something like history is agreed upon the winners of what they agree history is, or something like that. So, like, whoever won the wars,
which is the winners write history.
Winners write history.
Yeah.
But he says like they agree upon what history is, and they just make it up however they want.
Who agrees upon it?
The winners.
The winners. Yeah, they get together and say, this is what we're going to put out, guys.
This is what happened.
Well, look at the U.S. history that we were taught. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
I mean, we were taught what they were told to teach us.
Right.
And that's it.
Well, that's a whole thing where they even individual state to state, because Texas always has a problem with it and they want to learn. Texas always wants to buy their books that's written, so they teach Texans what they want to teach them. And I'm sure every state's like that too, but Texas is always over the top. with all their stuff because they're,
because everything's bigger.
Because everything's bigger in Texas. Yeah. And you just have these curriculums that people vote on. And then of course, it's like whoever writes the history books and whoever writes the curriculum books, that's probably a company that scratched somebody's back in government to get them sold. So we're teaching this, and you have to write this in the book. Well, now we're gonna ban all these books from the library. So they ban books too,
Still trying to ban. They're trying to ban books now.
No, they are banning books. There's a whole list.
There's a whole don't say gay deal.
Yeah,
in there.
It's crazy.
They were banning books with the N word, which is nuts. Like, just because the word is in a book, we're not gonna act like it doesn't exist. Like, okay, this is where it gets a little weird for me. Like, just because I don't agree or don't use a word, like I don't use that word, right? But it doesn't mean it's not a word, or it doesn't mean it doesn't exist in print in 1936, and it doesn't mean that you have to ban the book because the word exists. That's a bizarre phenomenon that we've started to go down.
Right.
The same thing with the gay stuff. Of course, I don't want to think you should teach kindergartners about transsexuals, but that's not the same thing as having a book in a library that talks about transsexual, right? Those are like two different phenomena.
Two different things.
But they're trying to paint it as the same thing, just like they were with the N-word. Like they're trying to say because To Kill a Mockingbird is in the library and it has the N-word in it, that the school or the system or the country is somehow racist because they own the book. And that's just
all the music I listen to has the N-word in it.
Well, yeah, that's a slippery.
All the rap music I listen to has the N-word in it.
Well,
but obviously
that's different.
That's the thing, because they can say it.
Yeah, that's different. Which is fine.
That's fine, but
I'm saying
it's better.
It was written.
It's better with it in it.
Yeah, it's better with it in it. If you,
but I don't understand. Like, if that can be said, and I can listen to that on iTunes, but if I want to listen to a book on tape
you could
what's a book?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird, or Tom Sawyer.
Yep.
Or any of that, then they'll probably bleep it out of the book. That doesn't make any sense to me.
You think they would bleep it out of a book?
Yes.
No, huh?
Well, I'll have to check it out. We'll have to look it up on audible.com.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
I know it still exists in songs. I bet you would. It's just odd it's just, I feel the same way about, that like.
Well, listen, that word should not be said by any of us. It's a hateful word, and that word shouldn't be said.
Correct, but reading it or stating it is not like if I'm reading a quote and I say the word, I've never understood why that is offensive. Reading a word, would that offend you?
Well,
would it?
Reading the word offend me?
No. If somebody wrote a quote and you had to read the quote.
Also, there's intent. Like,
I'm saying there's no intent if you're just reading. Like, say you're a newscaster.
If you're a newscaster and you read it, you probably shouldn't say it over the air if you're reading it. You should just probably not say it.
And why is that?
Because it's offensive.
But lots of things are offensive that we still say.
Yeah, but that's like the number one thing.
I mean, but if you're reading someone's quote,
okay, who's the newscaster?
Make it whoever.
Well, I'll say this.
I'm saying you're reading a quote.
I did a TikTok with Tabitha Soren from 1990s where she just says NWA. She just says it. She says the whole thing.
Yeah.
With an attitude, and nobody batted an eye in the 90s.
Right.
Like, she was like, have the number one, NWA, which she didn't say NWA. She said with an attitude, have the number one album.
Yeah.
On whatever.
What's wrong with that? That's literally their name.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So why are we pretending that there is?
Do you know what they did? They flagged me for posting what she said, because I even made it like this. Like, I even made it like this where she said it, and I like do the shot where I like look up and go, whoa. Like, wow, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah.
And then I didn't even say it. Tabitha Soren said it, and I posted it, and they
I guess what I'm saying is, why did we become, as a society, why did we allow to pretend like that's offensive that she read that in a newscast? The word, that they literally are. I guess that's the philosophical debate I'm having. Like, if it's written in print in a quote, why?
Well, that's what Joe Rogan was saying. He was saying, like, if the exact same thing you're saying, and of course, like, he apologized because he would say the word Because he was saying it as like you would say it as a newscast.
Well, I'm saying I would say
because
the word
of intent.
I don't say that because of if I was reading a book and it was in the Word and I was reading the book to you. Now I wouldn't do it out loud like on this or whatever on a format because I know that
it would get obliterated.
You can't do that. But I'm saying I do not understand how anybody is actually offended if I was reading it out of a book and I said it. Well, I just don't get it.
The thing is, and the perfect example is NWA. It's their name.
It's their name. That's what I'm saying.
She could have just said NWA though.
But why? But she could have just said the name.
She could have just
that they named it. And why can't you? Why would that be? Why is that offensive? And who is that? Who is it offensive to? Then why are we pretending as a society it is?
Right.
I
hear you.
That's the philosophical debate. Is that I think we're pretending as like yes, we can all agree the word is offensive. Yes, we can all agree the word is terrible. Yes, we can all agree that it comes from a terrible spot in history. But it's just odd to me that we don't agree that like if it's written down and I'm reading a whole paragraph and that word is written by somebody else and I say that word. How did that become like you can't do that?
Now you're in trouble.
Now you're in trouble. Or you can't post something where someone said it.
Because it's like the 100% never say it if you're white. I agree with that. I kind of agree. I agree with it.
Even in reading it.
Yeah, I agree with it.
And why? What other words would you not read out loud?
The gay F word. You
wouldn't say that?
No, because I know what that means.
Yeah.
It means a bundle of sticks, and they used to say like, and I have a lot of gay friends, and like it mean back in medieval times they didn't just burn witches, they also burned gay people.
Okay.
And they would say to throw them in the fire with the rest of the, because a bundle of to stoke fires, they used that word, so they called them that.
Okay.
To say that they stoked fires.
So you wouldn't
with people. So they're people. They're stoking fires with people. So that word is that's not really that's just sick and it's just sick.
I know, but I'm saying you wouldn't read it in print.
No, I don't like that word.
I didn't say I liked it. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying I like it or agree with anything. That's not the debate.
Yeah.
The debate is that.
In print, if you're like reading a quote something of somebody quotes it. Well, unfortunately, we live in a time that people aren't smart enough to understand when you're reading a quote or what you're saying. We have people in this society that don't even know if there's 50 states. I mean,
well, I know, but it's unfortunate that it's unfortunate
they can't even think for themselves.
Well, it's unfortunate that those of us that can have been act like we can't read some or say something that someone names themselves on a newscast and like somehow that's
yeah.
The whole thing's just we did forever. We were able to forever.
Yeah.
You could read quotations.
You could read quotations and it would be fine.
I mean, I'm not advocating the just the blatant use of either word. I think
made it like saying fuck. Like you can't say fuck on a newscast. You can't say.
You can if I've seen people.
Well, they do, but they get fined for it.
I've seen it where it's in a.
Now you get canceled.
I've seen it where it's in print or something. They have to read it and they're like, "Hey guys, I just want to let you know I'm gonna read this and it's gonna be offensive to some of our viewers out there. But this is what Donald Trump said. He said, I would fuck her right in the booty."
Did he actually say that?
No, but I'm saying
okay. This is allegedly.
I'm saying no. I've heard, but what I'm saying is they've said that word on newscast when they're reading a quote and they've just apologized to their audience that they're about to say it, and no one bats an eye because no one cares.
Right.
And it's just like I don't think anyone cares if they read the F word about gays or the N word, and if they read it in print. I don't think anyone legitimately gets offended by someone reading a quote. I think people are pretending to be offended. I think in our society,
I get that.
I think in our society, we pretend sometimes to be offended because we feel like it's virtuous in some way.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
No, yeah, virtue signaling.
Virtue signaling 100%. Because I think that. Like, I don't know. I just say that I just don't. The word's still bad. The word's still terrible, but you might need to illustrate how terrible it is by reading the quote. I don't think that reading the quote harms people. I just don't. But
then it's just like, hey, don't worry about that shit and go on TikTok and do a dance. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Get offended when you hear it, but do a dance.
I just don't think we should be I just don't think we should be so easy. I don't think we are so easily offended. Like I said, I think we pretend.
The other thing though is it's not it's probably white women getting offended about it.
Right, that's who it is. Always, it's always a white woman.
White women.
Yeah.
They got nothing better to do than get offended and attack.
At some point, though, you really almost have to stand.
Karens.
Yeah, you have to stand up and say, I just don't care. Like, I don't really care that you're offended. Like, I mean, I think society is due for a shift back to that.
I think that people will get tired of all that.
Like, when it becomes just
it'll normalize out, kind of like a wave.
Like,
it'll normalize out to where it's just like, oh, that guy's an asshole, and that'll be it.
You shouldn't have to justify yourself, for your, hey, would you read these lyrics?
It's all about intent.
It's all about intent, 100%.
If you could use it with anything. You could say, oh, that guy's Jewish, or you could say that guy's Jewish, and it would be like, whoa, dude. What?
Or you could say he's a kike, but
Yeah.
I'm allowed to say kike right here. They'll air it. TikTok won't ban it. No one will give two shits.
No.
I can say
Somebody will.
Well, I could literally call you a cracker on the podcast. Be like, you're a fucking cracker, Mike. And nobody cares.
And I don't care.
I don't care either.
The thing about it,
because of course cracker doesn't have near the same
nearly the same kind of connotation.
Cracker was just something that they.
Heaviness
I think that was just a you're going to call us this, we're going to call you that type of thing.
Right. I don't know. No
one's offended by any.
Obviously, I'm white, so I don't understand. I don't know anybody else's plight except my own. So
I know. We also feel like you also feel.
But I have empathy for people, and I understand.
I have tons of empathy for all kinds of people. But it's also kind of not fair that because you're white, you're not allowed to think or have thoughts or say anything because you're white.
Well, I think you can.
I know you can. Yeah, right.
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
But some people call that out.
And what's the call out?
White women?
No, I'm saying what would you be calling someone out for? Like,
by saying what?
You shouldn't be able to think because you're white. You shouldn't be able to have an opinion because you're white.
That doesn't even make any sense to me. Everyone has their opinions, and everybody has opinions and what they want to say. It doesn't matter if you're white or whatever. It doesn't matter. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, my opinion doesn't count because I'm white?
Exactly.
That's racist.
Exactly. So
that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
You know what the thing is like everyone has an opinion and everyone has an asshole.
It takes a lot to offend me, like a lot to like truly offend me.
And a lot of assholes have opinions. You know what really offends me? You know what offends me?
Well, you said that the F word about gays. You said the N word in print.
Those two words in conversation said in the wrong way, I will look at you in the face and be like, "What the fuck is your problem?"
And that's the right thing. That's the right thing to do with bad intent.
100%, and I've done it a lot.
Yeah,
and I've done it before. I driving a truck in South Carolina and pulling in and having somebody tell you a joke and looking at them and going, my brother-in-law and my niece and my nephew, they're black. So what the fuck's your problem? Yeah, you know what I mean. Like
that's bad intent, though. That's
them saying a joke of bad intent. So like, and damn that, like, I will do that, and I've done that. And damn the consequences. I mean, and also they're a customer of mine, like not the guy, but the business. And it's like, I would say that, and even though maybe repercussions would happen to me because I said that, because they'd be like, "Hey, your truck driver came in here and was like got on one of my guys because he said some." What
they usually say when you said that?
They would be like, "Oh no!" Everyone always backs down. Oh, everyone's a back down Nancy.
Of course.
Oh man, I'm just kidding around. I'm playing. It's just and it's like, no, dude, not cool.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
That's just the way I've always been.
But how many things? But
nothing offends me. You can't say anything to me. To me personally, it doesn't matter about my race or whatever. You can't say anything that offends me, to my core, because I don't give a shit.
I don't either. Now I
don't care.
Now you can say something and I'll be like, I'll think like, God, that's a shitty person for saying that. That I get to have that opinion too. I'm like, oh, that person sucks, right? Like they.
Well, I mean, everybody has an opinion. If they listen to my music and they're like, man, that fucking sucks to my face, it kind of hurts a little, but it's not. That's your opinion, and of course, I mean, everybody has their own taste.
Well, of course that's going to hurt after you've worked on something.
You work
I
on
don't care-
something-
I don't care how thick your skin is. My skin's thick as shit. but
It hurts.
Yeah, if someone's going to tell you like something you worked hard on and are proud of, and they're like, "Yeah, that sucks."
Yeah.
There's no way for that to ever. That's why I tell any musician or comedian or anybody, like, if you're in any kind of the arts and you're putting yourself out there publicly, and you get big enough where you have a ton of comments, just ignore your comment section.
Well, I've thrown
Even
away,
doing this, like,
I've
just
thrown away 1,000 songs.
Yeah.
Maybe not 1,000. I've thrown away probably 150 songs that I didn't meet my standards. Now, probably 70 of them probably would have met people would have been like, hey, that's pretty good. But because I'm like that, and I don't want anybody to think that I don't want anybody to tell me, man, that I don't like that. That sucks.
You at least want somebody to say, gosh, I would at least want somebody to say, hey, that's not really my style, but like I can appreciate what you did there. Like you kind of like that's a maybe a better approach on it. I don't know, but like
I always want to be punk rock and just be like, whatever. Well, I did it, and fuck you. This is punk rock in your face. But I'm not
but punk rock intentionally sucks. Like
not good punk rock.
Well, I mean, they're not good at their.
Not like No Effects. That shit's good.
But they're usually punks not good at music. It's not like they're not trying to be good at music, right? That's the whole deal. That's the whole ethos of punk.
Well, it is, but No Effects, they're all badass at their own. They're all badass at all their instruments, and they have really great songs. I don't know. Have you ever listened to No Effects? Not really.
Yeah, I've listened to No Effects.
Go to me while you're on your phone.
Yeah, so I have listened to No Effects. I like No Effects. I like a lot of punk.
I like a lot of punk. I like, you know what? Like I watched 4 episodes on YouTube of metal, and he broke metal down into 6 genres of metal.
6, that's not enough. But go ahead.
No. He went into more, but he said basically these were the 6, and I don't remember the 6. I mean, obviously, death metal was one of them, and
well, you're gonna have metal, you're gonna have metal, hardcore, stoner metal, doom metal, thrash metal,
thrash was
death
big.
metal, black metal.
Yeah, you're down. You got
Viking metal.
Well, Viking metal is a part of.
It's a subgenre of black metal,
black metal,
or death metal. Yeah,
but if you add core to anything. Like you add core, it means there's punk beats.
You have melodic death metal.
There's melodic okay, so like thrash, like
you have traditional metal. You have the new wave of heavy.
So like
British
thrash metal is Metallica,
Slayer, Anthrax, Testament,
Anthrax,
Exodus,
Anthrax.
So
those are the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
Then later in life, like Metallica and Megadeth, they went to like what is it called? Like melodic metal. Or
Megadeth made one album like that, and then went back to their thrash roots.
But Metallica did too. They went back after Death. They went back. Death
Magnetic was thrash.
Which I totally dig thrash. It's so awesome.
Thrash is my probably 3rd favorite metal genre,
and
it used to be my favorite.
I cut my teeth on Megadeth with Countdown to Extinction.
Yeah.
Which was one of their more melodic metal albums.
Yeah, that was their first.
Then I went back and listened to Rust in Peace. Woo! God damn.
Rust in Peace is a masterpiece.
Woo! That shit was awesome.
Rust in Peace is a all right, if I've got to remove Sabbath, but if I remove Sabbath, it's a top 10 album ever made for me. Like Rust in Peace is a stone cold fucking that is not one bad song, not one bad riff, not one bad lyric.
It's so badass that MTV News used that one riff at the forever. They used it for 10 years.
Yeah.
In the beginning of their newscast.
Oh my God! Holy Wars, The Punishment Due.
No, but Countdown to Extinction. Hangar 18. Countdown to Extinction.
Five Magics.
Was like something that I listened to like constantly, and like
the whole album or the song.
The whole album.
Oh, it's so good.
High Speed Dirt, all of them.
I'm a Megadeth,
huge Megadeth
super fan. I'm a super fan.
I'm a super fan, and I was so excited when the drummer for Lamb of God did that album with them. Mm-hmm. It was so great because I love Lamb of God too.
Lamb of God is wonderful.
But I watched all of this metal stuff. Like this was like an hour and a half long journey of all these metal bands, and I learned about
you watch
corpse paint with.
Was this Metal a Headbanger's Journey that you watched?
No, it was just something on YouTube where this guy, and he had like an accent like he was from like Norway or something.
Have you watched Metal a Headbanger's Journey?
Uh-uh.
Oh, we just need to watch it together.
Oh, I want to watch that. Yeah,
it's so amazing. Sam Dunn. He goes from the.
It's on YouTube.
It's probably got to be. We might watch it when we get done with this. It's so good. We
totally.
watch 20 minutes with you. It's got the. He starts in the very beginning. He goes all the way. But what he does that makes his so great is he gets on a plane and flies and meets all these folks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like if he's talking about black metal, he flies to Norway and he like gets in. Then he's like drinking wine. And the guys with his wine glass like, of course, the church burnings. This is something I support.
Yeah,
he's
right.
like, and he's like,
get into that.
And then the best interview on that whole thing,
There's some wacky stuff about death metal with that one. I forget what band it was, but
Mayhem.
Where
Mayhem
he killed himself, and they took a picture of it.
So it's funny that they used it for the album cover.
Yeah,
you didn't know that, huh? I've known that since it happened.
I know, but, I didn't know that.
The greatest interview is he finds Mayhem at a concert. And he's interviewing him. And, dude, I don't know, you can't pull up right now and show the people, or can you? We'll watch it together. I'll just reenact it real quick.
We'll do it then.
He's interviewing this guy. This is the interview. The guy's like, yes, we are Mayhem, the greatest fucking metal band ever. You don't like it? Fuck you. You want me to stop? Fuck you. And he's like, yeah. You don't think we should carry on? Fuck you. That's the interview. And he's like, every time he's trying to ask him a question, the guy, he's like, so talk a least, fuck you. He's like, and the guy's just sitting backstage. He's got a beer, sweater where he's just finished playing. That's literally his answer. The interview's like 55 seconds, the whole thing. We're Mayhem, the greatest metal band ever. You don't believe it? Fuck you. And he's like, okay, so fuck you. So he's like, all right, guys, well, thanks for your time. The guy, he never breaks. He's not even in character. Like, the guy's just really that big of a dick.
Yeah.
And he's just mad. He's just pissed off this kid even wants to talk to him. He's
gosh.
He's just mad that anybody would even ask him about, like, how do you not know about me? I'm a legend, like, in my face. Like, why am I have to explain this to you? But yeah, they took so he shot himself.
Right.
Death was his name, right?
Right.
You know about shot himself, and then they found him. They made, was it soup?
They made a soup out of his brains.
They made a soup out of his brains.
Then there were pieces of skull that people were selling on the internet.
They made necklaces out of his, and then
there was a piece of skull on the internet for sale. Like they sell pieces of his skull. People.
So there was also that band.
It's
also
crazy. It's
that
nuts.
band also had Euronymous. Also was involved in a stabbing, right, with the singer. You know about that one?
Mm-mm.
So it comes the singer and maybe the guitar player. I don't want to get any facts wrong too bad, but like. So the singer and the guitar player, and they're having beef, and he shows up at his house, and he answers the door, and he just starts stabbing him.
Oh my gosh!
And they fight out to the fire escape, and he stabs him to death. He kills him, like stabs him, like. And then are you familiar with the church burnings?
Yes, they said that they would burn churches.
So yeah, what was his name? The guy that led it all up, Varg Varganus. Varg Varganus, who made solo black metal albums. He made them by himself, did all the music. He burned like 27 churches.
Oh my gosh.
He just got out of jail.
27? What's there's a 27 burned down churches.
Oh yeah, they absolutely. But you know why, right? So
no.
So
enlighten me.
So in Norway, they feel the true black metal culture. So you have like your Alice Cooper, Marilyn Manson, Black Sabbath kind of metal, which is like kind of a show, right? Like the evil exists as part of a show, right?
Right.
But with black metal, that's not the deal. This is
real world.
This is every day.
Take it to real world situations.
I'm not acting or doing this on stage. This is a real pig's head on stage with a sword through it. I've killed this. I slaughtered this pig last night.
I'm going to burn a church down later.
But the deal with the church is this: they feel the black metal community in Norway, and you can listen if you listen to Varg talk about it, or talk any if you listen to any of the, or if you listen on Metal Headbangers Journey, the black metal guys talk about it, or anything about any. If you read about it, they feel like they're like, look, here's the deal: these Christians came into our land, conquered our land, raped our women, stole our shit, stole our homes, stole our land, and then told us we're to be a Christian nation. Fuck you and your whole existence. They have a real fight and plight against them. It would be like asking pilgrims, like, why aren't you standing for the anthem? Or asking
Indians,
Native Americans,
Native Americans,
not pilgrims, asking Native Americans, I can't believe you're not standing for the anthem. Like, well, you might believe it if I told you a little story.
Yeah.
So when people are like, I can't believe y'all would burn churches, they're like, you might if you sit down. I'll tell you my side of the story. They have their whole side of the story.
Right.
And
Okay, what countries were this?
this is Norway and Sweden.
Norway. That's where I'm from.
Okay.
I'm Germanic speaking, Icelandic, Norway. That's where like 60% of my DNA comes from. That's probably why I like that kind of music.
Yeah.
It's like in my DNA. Like that's why I like that kind of music.
So people just here in the we hear people like, oh, I can't believe they burn churches, which I still can't believe. I'm not support, but they were burning these churches that were like from the 1700s, these landmark, or they were called because they were saying no, they came, conquered our lands, planted a flag, built churches, and told us all that we were supposed to be Christians.
Right.
Like I ain't with it. I ain't with them. They're not my friends.
And then they fight it with death metal.
Black metal.
Black metal. That's black metal?
Yeah, it's black metal.
See, I get confused.
Black metal and death metal are completely separate things.
I know.
So, but a lot of people get confused on it. So
there's a lot of different things that go. That's why I watched this thing forever.
Black metal.
Yesterday I watched this. It was like an hour and a half long of explaining the differences between
black
those things.
metal is going to be heavy satanic.
Yeah.
Heavy satanic, heavy anti-Christian themed, maybe, and sometimes some Viking themes, boats, that type of thing.
That's a subgenre.
Death metal is comic book, right?
Right. Death metal is comic book.
I rip the entrails from your throat.
The dragons and the all that stuff.
No, that's power metal.
Oh, that's
power metal. That's power metal.
Power metal is happy and uplifting sounding.
Power metal's happy and uplifting. It's going to be.
I learned this yesterday.
It's going to be fantasy driven.
Dragon Force.
Lord of the Rings and Dungeons and Dragons and rainbows and wizards and Dragon Force, Rainbow, Dio. Those are all Halloween.
Dio has rocked for a long time.
He has indeed. So
now it's time for him to pass the torch.
That's power metal. It's all thematic. So black metal and death metal have a lot of the similar vocal deliveries, but death metal you get the Cookie Monster vocals.
Right.
And death metal, you get some Cookie Monster vocals, but you can usually hear it. It's just black metal's dark. Black metal's darker.
As soon as you start changing from that to that, then there's a subgenre.
Yeah,
that's what that's what I've learned.
Then you have melodic death metal. Then you have Viking death metal or Viking black metal or melodic death metal.
I think my favorite. Then you get into and then as you progress, you get into gent, which everyone's arguing about that being its own thing. Gent,
is it? Yeah.
Which is like what I just played you.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like hammering out on one string on an 8-string guitar. What's going on with that? And it's like gent, and then there is they call it post-hardcore. Post-hardcore,
which is that just makes sense. You have hardcore, and punk, which everyone knows the difference in those two.
And then post-hardcore is choppier with punk laden.
Yep, after the hardcore scene of the 80s.
Yeah.
Post-hardcore. Hardcore and punk, a lot of people think are the same, but they're not very different.
They're not. What I like is the screaming and the yelling, along with melodies, choruses that have melodies.
So
high melodies, so
Kill Switch Engage, Lamb of God.
Well, Lamb of God doesn't do melodies.
They do some melodies.
No, they don't do melodies like what I like.
So more like Kill Switch.
I'll tell you a band. Hold on one second. So hold on. I'm having a. Kylie from the other room is listening in. She says, tell him about when we were at the bookstore and you came up and was like, you can't even read. And okay, let's go back to something real quick. When we back to people not acknowledging jokes in public, or if you're trying to joke around with a stranger. Mm-hmm. We were in a bookstore and we like one of those bookstores that has a coffee shop in it. So like Kylie's getting us coffee and I walked off, and then I walked back and there were a bunch of people in line behind her.
Yeah.
Side note, everyone, real quick. I walk around the corner and I see her and I go, oh, hey, what are you doing here? You know you can't even read. And everybody went like, oh my God. Oh my God, this guy's telling she can't read.
They didn't get the joke?
They didn't get the joke. And I like walked up to her joking, but like the look on everyone's faces was like they were mortified that I was like letting her secret out that she was illiterate.
I hope people get back to joking again.
It's crazy. It was crazy. I was like, yay. Oh, hey, what are you doing here? You can't even read.
And they're like, and everybody.
And it was like,
it just got silent.
Even like the lady making the coffee was like,
everything stops in the store. Everybody just looks at
it like what's happening next?
Like in a movie. Who is this guy? What the hell?
Who is this guy?
Oh my God.
So funny.
That's awesome.
Anyway. All right. Well, what were we talking about? Let's end that on the. We were talking about the black metal.
Talking about the black metal, I guess.
Oh, I was gonna tell like I Prevail.
Yeah,
like
okay,
the band, like I Prevail. So like they do like really they yell and they do a lot of chunky stuff, and then like in the choruses it's like
it's melodies like
these great melodies.
It's melodies like traditional heavy metal, which is my favorite genre is traditional heavy metal or traditional rock and roll, but if it's we're talking metal, heavy metal is my favorite genre of heavy metal, which is all your bands that just play metal that all the subgenres I guess came off of. Like,
well, you know what my favorite genre is? Bush. My favorite is Bush.
I like Bush.
Gavin Rosdale. And with that, I'm gonna end it.
I like Bush a lot. All right, cool. Well, we'll see you guys when we see y'all. I've got a lot going on. So does Mike, but. We make sure to come and talk to y'all every once in a while.
Yep.
We love it.
All right.
We love it. Thanks.
All right, bye.
Okay, now I have to show you this stuff.